So, today we're going to dive into this really fascinating guide that asks a pretty powerful question. What if the key to our physical healing wasn't just in our bodies, but in our spirit? It kind of mashes up ancient wisdom with modern clinical insights to offer a totally different roadmap for well-being. It explores how our inner state, what we consume, and even our compassion for others are all deeply, deeply connected to our physical health.
So let's kick things off with a question that, I think a lot of us have asked at some point. You're doing everything you're supposed to. You're following the doctor's orders, you're taking the supplements, you're putting in the work, but you still feel stuck, like you're just spinning your wheels. This really common frustration is the exact jumping off point for the guide we're digging into today.
And here it is, the core idea. What this guide is really getting at is that we so often miss two huge pieces of the puzzle, our mind and our spirit. It proposes that real, lasting healing can only happen when all three, mind, body, and spirit, are actually working together, in harmony. So let's see how it breaks this down, starting with our inner state.
Okay, Section 1 frames our inner world as the actual foundation for physical recovery. The idea is, it's not just about what you take, but the state you're in when you take it.
Wow, this quote from the source material just nails the entire concept, doesn't it? It suggests that if you've got internal conflict going on, stress, resentment, fear, you're creating an environment where your body simply cannot do its job of repairing itself. Peace isn't some luxury, it's an absolute prerequisite.
And this slide just lays out that connection so beautifully. On one side, you have the spiritual reflection. Emotional peace is the soil for healing. And right next to it, the clinical proof. Chronic stress pumps out cortisol, which weakens our immune system. Meanwhile, gratitude releases dopamine, which actually helps our brain repair itself. See? It's the same truth, just told in two different languages.
Okay, so how do you actually cultivate this inner peace? The guide offers these simple, really practical steps. A peace inventory just helps you check in and become aware of what calms you versus what agitates you. Box breathing, you might have heard of it, is a super well-known technique to calm your nervous system right down. And affirmations, well, they actually work to help rewire your brain's default setting from threat to safety.
So if our inner state is the soil, what are we planting in it? Well, our next section gets into the chemistry of hope, and it's not just looking at the food we eat, but at how we nourish our entire being.
I love this quote because it completely reframes how we think about physical sensitivity. Instead of seeing it as a problem or some kind of weakness, the guide suggests it's actually a form of bodily wisdom. It's your system telling you exactly what it was designed for and what it really struggles with.
And here again, we see that brilliant connection. The spiritual view frames eating as this sacred act of participation with creation. Then, the clinical view shows us exactly why this matters. Processed foods and sugars create inflammation and basically mimic a stress response in the body. So listening to your body isn't just some mindful practice, it's a real way to reduce biological stress.
The applications here are super direct. Practice mindful eating. Focus on foods that actually fight inflammation. And notice that last point, it's all about intention. The suggestion is to view supplements as things that serve your healing process, not as the process itself. Our third section dives into a topic that so many of us know all too well, especially caregivers, parents, and just empathetic people in general, that deep exhaustion that can come from caring for others. First, let's just define the term you see on the slide, compassion fatigue. This is a recognized clinical state. It's a very specific kind of burnout that comes from the emotional weight of caring about others. It's what happens when you give so much empathy that you just end up feeling empty, numb, and totally disconnected yourself. So the guide addresses this head-on. It acknowledges, compassion costs energy. But it makes a really crucial distinction. It suggests that empathy, that's just drawn from our own willpower, is a finite resource. It's a battery that will run out. The alternative it presents is tapping into a spiritual, renewable source of energy, reframing that craving for stimulants as a deeper craving for connection.
The crucial takeaway here is this. The solution to feeling drained isn't to stop caring, but to recharge from a different source. As you can see, the guide suggests both grounding practices to calm our nervous system and spiritual experiences like awe and worship. And science actually backs us up. These experiences can increase oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which literally refuels our capacity for connection.
Now we're moving into a very sensitive and important topic, the use of medication and other substances. but viewed through a lens of compassion and discernment.
This is a really foundational point in the guide. It just shifts the perspective from judgment to understanding. The motivation, it argues, is almost always a deep, deep desire for relief. Relief from pain, from anxiety, or from trauma.
This quote from the source material really underscores a message of non-judgmental guidance. The idea isn't to condemn the search for comfort, but to bring wisdom and intention to it, to be guided in the dosage of hope. The practical takeaways here are all about balance and wisdom. Discern your motive. With substances like cannabis, understand that dosage and purity are key. With psychedelics, the guide warns that they can intensify instability if they're not paired with strong emotional and spiritual grounding. And it consistently advocates for combining faith with trusted medical supervision, not replacing one with the other.
Our final section brings all of these different threads together, and it offers a really profound redefinition of what healing truly is. This is a huge paradigm shift. We tend to think of healing as a destination, right? A future point where all our symptoms are gone. But this guide suggests that wholeness is actually a present tense reality. It's not about being fixed, but about being accompanied through the process, whatever that looks like.
And this quote is the heart of that message. It recasts healing from some lonely battle into a shared journey. The support isn't just waiting for you at the finish line. It's with you every single step of the way.
And to make this tangible, the guide proposes this simple daily rhythm. It's not a complicated protocol at all. It's just a gentle structure for integrating these principles into your life. Starting the day with gratitude, finding moments of joy and nourishment midday, and then closing the day with reflection and release.
And so we end with what might be the guide's most powerful distillation of its entire message. Peace is your medicine, presence is your therapy, and belief is your growth hormone. It's just a profound reminder that the deepest sources of healing are already within our reach.